how do you not compare yourself? To be honest, I just literally do not want to be anybody else. The idea of being anybody else is, respectfully to all you other people in the world, disgusting to me. It's not because you're disgusting. I just love me so much, and I would never want to be anybody other than this person that I am.
I've been going through some things, so much on my
brain. You feel me? All right, we back at it, you feel me? So, welcome back. Another episode. Let's go ahead and get right into it. You know, I like to give y'all a temperature check, let y'all know what I got going on. So, back with the podcast, moving solo, and man, I ain't gonna lie, I had some moments where it felt like kind of like up and down, jittery a little bit, but right now, I'm really feeling good for the most part about what I seen from the podcast, and I'm hoping that y'all gonna enjoy what I have coming forward for y'all. So, first things first, like I said, feel good, but man, that podcast is all over the place, but like I said, it's cool. We doing things, we up and down. Everything ain't gonna be perfect, and it's gonna be a progress, and I want y'all to kind of like walk with me. I get better, y'all get better, we get better, you feel me? It's a family. So, like I said, I feel like a big thing about last week was just more or less trying to reintroduce myself, and now y'all introduced to me, so now you finna get me, you finna get AO all the way, you feel me? Stupid, I always talk my shit, but I'm finna talk more of my shit. And man, just really doing this podcast has felt like good for my spirit or something. I don't know, like, man, the topics I plan on getting into is just stuff I just really like getting into. I like talking about, trying to be a better me, shit, hopefully having other people around being better them. So it's just like, or even if you ain't around me, just a better world. So like, that's really what I'm shooting for. So I feel like what this podcast is doing, it just feels good for me. So I hope it feels good for y'all watching it, taking in what I talk about. And shit, like I say, if you disagree with what I say at points in time, hey, it's all good. It's still all love. Just let me know how you feeling. Drop it in the comments. Hit me with a DM, whatever feel comfortable for you. And just be like, hey, I ain't sure about this. And hey, we might have a little powwow about it. We might agree. You might change my opinion. I might change your opinion. We might agree to disagree and be able to still be all love from there. So that's what we're going to have going forward from it, man. And I really don't have too much going on. Like, honestly, this past week just been more or less trying to get the podcast together. So my life kind of been pretty simple. What I do want to tell y'all is something I'm doing. Like, during the fast, I was able to do. And going forward, I like to like do more of. And that's volunteering. It's something I was supposed to do more last year. I did a couple times. Something I have done once so far this year. And I only did my last volunteering was during my fast. And before that, the last time I volunteered was during my last fast. So it's like, hey, look, man, you can't just let fasting give you the focus to do what you're supposed to do. I'm going to do more volunteering. I don't know a lot of things in the community. I definitely need to expand my knowledge. So like within Houston, what I do, typically if I go volunteer at the Houston Food Bank. And so I think in May, last time I did volunteering, my game plan is for the rest of 2024 is to volunteer once a month at least. So this upcoming Saturday, if you're watching this when it just released, June 22nd, I will be volunteering in the morning for the Houston Food Bank. So if you'd like to join me, want to pull up with me, or just whatever it is, man, or even if it's something else different for you, but like if you're in the Houston area and you'd like to pull up with me, I'm gonna be at the Houston Food Bank volunteering, seeing what they have me doing, like to have a little fun. You know, you get to meet new people, chop it up with folks. It's just it's a good little thing. You know what I mean? We're trying to put out good vibes, trying to put out good energy in the ethos. I don't know, like hey, man, don't y'all hate it when you like be in the middle of saying some shit and then like halfway through it, you like, how I'm gonna finish this shit? Say some shit. And it'd be like, not what you wanted to say, but fuck, you gotta run with it. That's kind of what just happened to you, boy. But it's all good. We doing my thing. And I'll be sticking my tongue out a lot. Like, if y'all ever follow my personal page, AO Forever. Oh, and be sure to follow the podcast, StoryHouse, all one word, .xo. That's the same thing on any social media. StoryHouse.xo. You feel me? Follow it right there. But like I said, if you follow any of my personal shit, you'll see anytime I'm working out, most of the time when I post a gym selfie, I got my tongue out. And I can't help it when I'm working out, my tongue be out. So if y'all see me doing that during the podcast at any point in time, hey, look, I'll be on my Jordan shit. You feel me? All right, so let's go ahead and get the shit. Let's get into the shit that we talking about for the day. Let me introduce y'all. We at the StoryHouse podcast. We at the StoryHouse. You already know what it is. You already know you here with your boy AO. We finna talk some shit. We gonna have some laughs, Sometimes we're gonna talk about some sad shit. Sometimes we're gonna talk about some happy shit. But what we're gonna always talk about is real shit. So just know, man, kick your fucking shoes off, get comfortable. You in the house with family. It's love in here. Now sometimes it's gonna be hard love, but it's always gonna be love, baby. So come on, rock with the family. Let's get to it. So for today, I don't have anything fire to put y'all on. If y'all got something fire you want to recommend for me to find or something like that, hey, definitely shoot it to me. So I don't got nothing fire. I want to put y'all on some shit if I don't have no shit I really think dope. So we going straight into the vent. So for today's topic is going to be negative comparisons. And this is a topic that, I don't know, I feel like it's really important right now. And something I kind of want to get to, like how I feel like comparisons, it's natural, it's normal, it always happens. Like I feel like that's something we gotta get to. Like it's just so common a thing. It's not like, oh, this person is so comparative. Oh, this person is so comparative. We all compare, and just being able to acknowledge and know that, hey, we comparing. And with how society kind of is right now, we're at a point where a lot more of the comparisons that we're doing are just more prominent. The internet has brought about a lot of things. We have more access to people around the world. We get more information. We get more things. You get to see more things. You get to find out more things, which is so great in times. But at the same time, hey, you get to also see shit that you would not usually would have been exposed to. And now you know, oh, this is an option. This is an option. And I don't have these options. So the internet provides that to us. And it just has this yin and yang, good and bad with it. And a thing with that is the biggest thing with the internet, social media. I know you probably expected it to come in. Comparisons is like the biggest thing to talk about when you talk about comparisons, but the fact is, it's just prevalent with it. Social media is a huge place of comparison. Now, I do want to say with social media, you do have to be aware. In no way am I coming like social media is just all bad. It's positive things on the internet, but the thing is, just as well as you can kind of have an emphasis on the positive, if that's what you're having, social media can also bring an emphasis to the negative things. And I feel like with social media, a big thing about it is it kind of, unfortunately for a lot of us, brings an attention to the negative comparisons that we have within our life. And honestly, negativity, unfortunately, is something that we just have an attraction to. Probably going to be, again, another topic I talk about, just like the way understanding that negativity has a different type of attraction for us than positive things. You may want to like lean toward positive things, but a positive thing is good and you feel like it's normal, it happens all the time. Negative thing, hey, what's that? That's bad. It's catching my attention. You need to be more aware of negative things. Positive things, you feel comfortable. Negative things, you're tense and now you're attentive. So you just kind of like has that, and social media just kind of highlights those things within us. So let me get down here where I'm at. Like I say, just a part with social media, what I want to talk about is, like I was saying with the internet, it brings so many things, but social media gives us an unfortunately unnatural amount of access to people. Like, just in the way the world works, you could not see as many people in the real world as you can see on social media. In the real world, you might live a day where you really interact with 10 people, let's say 20 people tops, like actual interact with them. Like, you could be in a big city like New York or Tokyo or something like that, and you running past buku people all day, but you're not really interacting with them. You kind of see them and passing them. On social media, you can have a 1 minute interaction with 200 people within a day, depending upon how long you spend on social media. And that's not really just to blame social media, but it's just a fact. You can now have an unnatural access to people. You can just regularly interact, see them. And yes, it may not be deep interactions with every person. Like, you're on TikTok scrolling, it might be just something quick, but you're quickly interacting and like actually interacting. You're engaged. You're focused on what somebody else is doing, and you just naturally will not have that level of access to people around the world. And I feel like not having that level of access is actually a good thing for us, but that doesn't change the fact that also having the access to this information and these exposures that we have from other people also has its good thing. So again, yin and yang is always playing into it, but with playing with yin and yang, you have to be aware of the negative as well as the positive going on with it. So, like I said, for social media is fostering, I think it can foster the positive, but it has an emphasis on negative, unfortunately, for us sometimes. But the thing is, really, though it has the negative things and has the positive things, the fact is it's a reflection of what you already have going on to an extent, because you choose who and what you follow on social media. There's an extent of like where you have ads and different things, and maybe have like social groups, and your friends like, oh, you should follow this person, you follow it, whatever type of thing. But you make a profile, you choose who you follow, you choose who you get exposed to, and people tend to share the same thing. Like if you follow a page, that person is going to kind of, this is kind of what they tend to post, even if it's like a company or brand or something like that. The type of content that they regularly show is going to kind of be consistent. And at a point in time, you have to decide, are they showing and sharing things that I want to regularly have, I want to regularly be exposed to, I want to regularly engage with? And a lot of us sometimes, we just like, oh, this is just regular things. This is just normal. I can just see this. And it's fun sometimes. And don't get me wrong, I follow some pages, and like recently for me, I've been kind of thinking I may need to unfollow a few of these pages because regularly the content they show is like, this negative, this negative, well, not all this positive. But it's just so many negative things, and it's just things that's just like honestly not sitting well on my spirit when I watch it. But again, that's the thing that I have to make for myself. I have to realize, hey, this is not something you're enjoying. You don't really even engage with it as much, just disengaging from it. And that's just the kind of point I have to decide for myself and find what I want to actually follow. And you have to decide for yourself because, as I said, social media is only going to be a highlight to the things that you choose. So it's a reflection of what you kind of to an extent already have within you. And even for me recently, I think like this past week, social media apps, like I don't really use Facebook, but I have it on my phone. Like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Twitter, whatever. I've always had those on my front page of my phone. It's the first apps. You go to my screens, it's always one of the first apps. And like this past week, I moved it to the second page. And I had been trying to get on social media less, but over everything I've done, whether it's like putting focus modes on my phone or whatever it may be, just moving it from the fact that it's not the first list of options that I have has dramatically reduced how often I get on any social media platform. Because it's just like that little resistance for me on having to swipe over. It's like, hold on, bro, you got on your phone? Is that even what you finna do on there? And it's just like, I guess I don't have anything really to get on there. So I end up not actually getting on the social media. And that's just been a positive thing for me. And that works for me. It may not work for you, but this just giving out an option of something that may be something positive for you to try doing. Now, with social media, as I said, positive, negative things balance. A lot of times there are a lot of inspirational profiles on social media, and they can give you something to strive for. And that's a good thing. Like it's good, as I said, the exposure that we have to have something to strive for. But within having that, it's important to realize the things that you're watching and how you receive information. Because you may watch and get exposed to a lot of things that are positive, it's good, that's great, or they're living their best life, or they're doing something amazing, or they're putting affirmation words here. I feel like the word type the word type posts are just purely words, and sometimes those things can be good and aspirational and have less of a possibility for negative comparisons. But when you have seeing someone else living a life that you're not living, seeing someone else doing something great, seeing someone else doing something amazing, seeing multiple people, hearing it and talking about, this group or this company, all these things going on, there's a level of seeing all those things, and it's how now do you receive that information? Because it may be, yes, those are good things. So you might not always be exposed to the negative things, not the violence, the murders, just that negative things. I don't even want to overly list the negative things that you know it's negative on social media or just in life. But sometimes understanding the positive things can also have a negative effect on you because of the negative comparisons. So if you're seeing all of these things, how does your brain receive it? How do you take in the information that you're actually seeing and being exposed to with the profiles that you're following? So someone may be regularly posting inspirational things, but if the way that your brain takes it in is not, if the end result of how you take it in is not an actual positive thing, you may want to minimize how much exposure you're having to those the things that are quote unquote inspirational, because it's not lacking in inspiration, just how it's being received. So sometimes the thing is, the front of our brain can see it and realize and be like, oh, that's amazing, that's something to strive for. But the back of our brain can actually just be thinking, oh man, that's something dope, and I'm not any of that. I'm not doing any of these things. And that's not to say that's absolute. That's not to say, yes, as soon as you see that, that's how you're going to take it in. But be aware of how you actually receive the information. as I was talking about last week with happiness, you just have to take the time to actually sit and think, how am I taking in the information? Am I taking it in good? Am I taking it in bad? Like, how is it fucking with me? And at the end, not like my initial reaction to it, how did it actually sit on me? Like, how did that information sit with me? How am I feeling about myself? I do a little bit of self-reflection. I took in your information, what you have going on in your life, now how I feel about me. You know what I mean? And just kind of like chopping it up and just having it chop up with yourself. Like, sometimes you can chop it up with other people. Sometimes chop it up with yourself. You feel me? Have some self-talk. Ain't nothing wrong with talking to yourself. That's the person that you with most of the time. More than anybody else. Talk to that motherfucker. So, like I say, with those inspiration profiles is such a good thing, but just balancing out how you deal with it. And honestly, shit, social media can be nothing but a highlight reel. We all fucking know that. Social media is a highlight reel. People are not posting the ugly shit. They not posting the bad. It can be numerous takes. Like, you watch let's go just something easy. Instagram, I feel like that's one that's commonly get talked about. Instagram, because I feel like TikTok, sometimes people can just post their bullshit. Like, some people just post like buku of the same pages. Snapchat, stories, things like that. Like, those things are kind of good and bad. All of it can have an aspect, but I'm just emphasize like the post type of thing. So like, you have a post, somebody can be posting something that looks amazing, looks great. Man, you don't know how many takes it took that person to get that thing, but you comparing your life like, oh man, I can't get this in one take. That person might have took 1,000 takes to get that, but it looked amazing when they got it in the end. But the highlight, that's how you taking it in. You can have numerous takes on something. It's rarely somebody sharing the ugliest moments. There are some people who share their ugly moments on social media, but typically the things that are highlighted and the things that are seen more of highlights the beautiful, great, amazing moments that don't always make up all of our lives. We have other things. Everybody has highs and lows, regardless of how much your highlight reel, you have highs and lows. The photo, a picture, or whatever you're watching can be altered. People put buku filters on stuff. I know some people who literally do not post anything ever without a filter on their face. You don't even, like, your mindset, like, easy with something like that. You can now, at that point in time, have a distortion about how you really look and how you really feel about yourself. If every time you put a post, you got a filter on it, you don't feel like the way you look without a filter look good regardless. And this ain't me judging and putting nothing like that, because I really don't at any point in time want somebody taking any information I take to be judgmental. But I feel like if you can never share how you look raw, like, I mean, okay, you put your makeup on or whatever, or even if it's not makeup or whatever it is, how you looking, if you're not comfortable with the fact of how you just look, everything has to have a filter. Everything has to be altered. What's going on? Like, why is you not, why you ain't okay? Is somebody like, oh, you got a beautiful, whatever, man, look, this is my real face. This is how I really look. If somebody else don't like it, man, make sure you're okay with it. So again, there's nothing wrong with those type of things. And I get some people have brands and things that they want to put out, but just be aware of how you're presenting yourself. Like, are you okay with the way you look without having an alteration on it? Are you good? Are you just good with you? And that's just something we got to find within ourselves. That was just supposed to be that wasn't even supposed to be that much of a part, but that just kind of went across the brain, whatever. Again, it's highlight reels. You got angles. Some people just flat out faking it, like faking like they got things that they don't have, but they talking about it. The caption that somebody can have on there can literally be something that they do not believe. Somebody can have a full conversation. They can just say so many things, tell you about this, and the third, and deep within themselves, that caption does not reflect how that person actually feels. So, like I say with that, and also, shit, you got celebrities. You got people who flat out have somebody else running their profile, but you're taking it and you're perceiving it and taking this, oh, this is what this person feels like, and this is what this person got going on. They got a team putting together this presentation to you, and now you're perceiving yourself and weighing yourself and balancing yourself and valuing yourself on a team. You an individual comparing yourself against a team. This is a basic principle of life. Things are better when you have unity, you have a group, you have unison going on. I mean, within yourself, it's unison, but there's no team, there's no group. You're alone building that out. So don't compare what you have alone to what somebody's doing with a team. And sometimes you don't know they have a team. And that's the thing with social media, these highlight reels, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So just try to not compare yourself, minimize how much exposure you're having, the way that you're taking things in, because you just don't know. And that's the big thing with social media. You just don't know sometimes. So like I say, it's just the lack of details with that. We can only make assumptions about what's actually going on within any post, anything that we see on social media. And so with that, I'm gonna go to an example of a friend. Obviously, anything I talk about somebody like this, I always gonna leave out names, anything like that. But just an example of a friend they follow with the exact kind of things I'm talking about. They follow like a big thing they always used to do. Like they follow buku inspirational women on social media, and I kind of like talk to them about it's like, bro, you follow like a lot of people. And, like you watching people like Get Ready With Me, like watching somebody live their like you literally watching somebody live their life. You're watching them live their life. You're living your life watching somebody else live their life on a regular. And I mean, it's cool having exposure to some people, but you regularly know what's going on in somebody else's life that you have no actual connection to. They don't know your name. They don't have any connection to you. And so that person was kind of like, oh, no, I just like it. They're doing amazing things. I'm so proud of her and everything that they do and everything these women doing. Is like, one, that's a great thing. I love the fact that you can see somebody else doing something and not have a sense of hating going on. But also, this person has battled at time different levels of battle depression. So it's like, all right, you sure about that? Like for me, just like having a conversation. You sure about you always like watching these people doing it, whatever? All right, conversation. You're an adult. I can't force you to do anything, but I can just give you my opinion to it. And kind of like later on, like how I say, they're regularly being exposed to this other person's highlights and these things going on. And the thing is, like at points in times, they're kind of like, yeah, obviously, front of their brain, proud of this one. I'm happy for everything that they're doing. They're doing so amazing. These people are so dope. But what's going on in the back of your brain? Why am I not there? Why do I not have these things? Why can't I do what they're doing? Why am I not living the life they have? Why not me? And that's just the kind of thing that you have to, like I said, have a balance and comparison between. You're now comparing yourself against somebody else, and what was something you were perceiving as, I'm just happy and proud for that person is now, but why not me? In the front of your brain, when you seeing them, it was just you're happy for them. But if you see 10 people living a life and you get intimate details that you would not normally have had, if you're not at a good state, like I said, this is a person who battles and deals with depression. And unfortunately, we have a lot of people who battle and deal with depression. It's a wide scope. It's a big thing, whether it's anxiety, whatever you have going on. People have a lot of mental things going on. So you just have to be aware of yourself, what you have going on. So having control and managing what you allow yourself to be exposed to. So the thing is, that person, eventually, like certain things, they've like, oh, I don't follow this person anymore. I don't do these things anymore. And I'm happy for them because I feel like to a certain extent, they do have less comparison within their life. They're still battling, still going through and dealing with things. But just like for them having even though previously when we spoke about it, it was, oh yeah, this is just good. I'm just happy. I just like seeing these things. Like seeing these people make me feel good and make me want to do things for myself. And there can be levels of that. But the end result, they were able to acknowledge, I might be having more comparison about myself and to them than I'm having. I'm happy for them and they're motivating me. And that's something you just have to have a balance within. Because again, please remember to take in what I'm saying. I'm not saying these inspirational pages and people to follow is a bad thing, but be aware of how you're taking in the information. Are you making negative comparisons about yourself within going on with it? So just kind of want to leave with the social media part. I'm not saying social media is bad. It's a positive thing. It can be positive because at the same time, like I said, you can follow the inspirational pages. You can also, social media, like I said, you're getting an unnatural exposure to people, but at the same time, we're getting unnatural exposure to people. You may be in a place or have proximity and not able to find someone close to you who you can relate to. Social media, you can potentially find somebody. And now you found a friend. Now you find a community. So if you're dealing with an issue, just as well as you may have a comparative thoughts, you can also end up having oh yeah, I found a group, and now this group, we actually talk and do serious work on depression, serious work on even dealing with the comparisons that we have. So we kind of met on this social media, but we move away from the social media aspect so that we can talk more directly and build up ourselves. So just understand, everything, social media is a tool at the end of the day. It's just how you are using that tool. Now, I've been talking about social media, but it's not the only thing that we have going on. Social media is not the only place for comparison. This is a real world. We have a whole lot of real world comparisons that happen. So just as well as on social media, you can have yourself comparing what you have going on and what you're doing. One of the first places that a lot of us have comparison is within our family. Some people are single only children or whatever. I'm one of three. I'm the youngest. I got an older brother or oldest brother, older sister, and then it's me, beautiful baby boy up in this thing doing my thing. You hear me? Look at all beautiful and glowing and glistening and shit. You feel me? But it could be easy to have comparisons within your family. So like sibling wise, like for me personally, I don't have two thankfully, I wasn't too comparative, at least. I was more inspired within my family. But it's easy to find yourself comparing what you have going on within your family. So like your siblings, that's an easy place. Some people only children, so you don't have that, but you may have cousins or somebody else like that. Like speaking on the siblings aspect, an easy spot that could have been for me to have a comparative mindset. I remember, I don't know what it is. I want to say it's like junior high or elementary, somewhere between there. Let's say between 4th to 8th grade, somewhere between like I said, my older brother, so he graduated from high school while I was in elementary. And I remember, like, it was so dope. I was like super proud. Like I told y'all before, my brother's one of the only people who I even at all kind of looked up to in life. But I remember at a point in time, my mom said to me, literally, and I think like me and my sister around, your oldest brother is my favorite. Like literally said the words, that's my favorite. Like you don't get more comparative than that within family than literally having somebody tell you, somebody who's over you, the mother figure in your life, that's my favorite. But the thing is, I don't think at any point in time in my life I really took that anyway and gave a fuck. Just because it's like, well, that's how she feel. I can't control how that woman feel. I still love my mama. Hey, you my baby. You already know that. But that is like one, I know for me, I would never tell my children that when I have them, God willing. But her saying that is a wild statement to say to your children because one, people have varying levels of things. I don't know if that stood out or stuck out in any way to my sister upon hearing that, but it's just like, I know for me, I was like, damn, that's crazy she said that. I guess he her favorite. Whatever. She like who she like. I'm still good. I'm still great. I'm still amazing. I'm doing my thing, you hear me? But at the same time, like I know me and my sister, my mom, sometimes they can have like different issues going on. It's like statements like that. How is that playing into it? And maybe my mom's not looking at it like that, but shit, can be a huge factor. She may not want to acknowledge that, but you're putting comparison in your children already at those ages. And even going on from the continuing story of the comparison, later on in life, me getting older, kind of on my shit, doing my thing, graduating or whatever, graduating from high school, graduating from college, got this degree that I'm doing nothing with. But yo, whatever, I handle my business, I try to do my thing. My mom's proud of me. And then I believe like a conversation, kind of my mom saying like, oh yeah, you my favorite, or you handling some stuff. I don't give a damn, because I know you done already had another favorite. I don't care if I'm now the favorite. That's cool. Because honestly, for me, I take that as more, hey, if you think I'm the favorite, other than like me, sometimes okay, I want to be better and not fuck with my siblings, but we siblings. I told you, my family, we talk shit. So I probably at some point in time, mom love me. I'm her favorite. I'm pretty sure at some point in time I done did some jokes like that. But honestly, if I'm going to my heart and how I feel, I'd rather only know my mama done told me that and never tell my siblings that, because I never want my siblings to have any kind of aspect of like, oh, mom, your mom's favorite, so you have any type of favoritism. And sometimes I probably experience and deal with some favoritism. I don't want it though. I don't want your favoritism. I want you to love me as much as you love my sister, as much as you love my brother. And I want you to love us just all across the same. But I can't control that. That's the comparison that my mom's having going on. And I know like we none of us are perfect. You want to treat everybody the same, but I know we don't all get treated the same. I don't like when I see like my sister dealing with something that I don't got to deal with. I don't like when I see my brother dealing with something I don't got to deal with. I don't like dealing with shit that I see that they don't got to deal with. But I'm probably gonna be like, fuck it. But that's my personality. Maybe I know some people like, oh, he the youngest. It's easy for him to say that. And that's possibly can play a part into it. Yeah, being the youngest probably put me in a position to not experience and go through all the same struggles that they went through. And I'm sorry that they went through it. But I want us all, end result, those things happen. We got to get better. So that's just like the family aspect, understanding, comparison. Sometimes you want the person who put the comparative mindset on for you. It could easily have been family. You could have seen a sibling who's doing great or doing better, and it's like, or not even just say doing better, but like they make an achievement and you like, oh, I ain't do that. Or shit, even like you can be like, easiest family, but even if y'all had the same parents, exact same mother, same father, you can have that, oh, well, they got a physical trait that I ain't get. Like, oh, I wanted to get that trait, but I ain't get it. And I think that's cute on them, and now I'm hating on them. And now you comparing yourself to your family based on physical traits they got or achievements that they have, when it's like, you're great, they're great. You don't have to be, it doesn't have to be, I'm greater. It's like, we can both just be great. And from the, like I said, going from the family aspect, that's just like a more direct thing. But like some people like cousins, family. Like I know for my family, we ain't the craziest like close-knit family, but my family from my grandmother, those are the folks I rock with. I don't really, unfortunately, I don't have a father side that I know of, so I don't know them. So my grandma's side of the family, them my aces, like them my cousins, like That's my people. So, but I know at the same time, with having that, with us growing up so close to each other, we can easily like compare, like, oh, what this person doing, oh, what this person's kid, what this auntie's kids, what this auntie's kids doing, how are they doing, and easily find yourself comparing yourself against your cousins, against different type of things going on in life. I'm one of the few people of my grandma kids who does not have any kids of their own, so I'm pretty sure people could be like, why you ain't got no kids? I can be the comparative point of a person who doesn't have kids. We got a few other ones who like me, but I know I'm one of the few who don't. And even with that, like going beyond the family aspect, your comparisons can go to your friends. Like you can, just kind of how I was talking about the social media, you can be proud of something. You can be like happy for a friend, like your friend, let's say your friend get a new job. You can be like, oh, damn, that's dope for that friend. But in the back of your mind, like, damn, but I don't got a new job, but I don't got shit going on. That's something dope for them, but it ain't something amazing for me. And you may not want to think of it that way or realize that's how you're feeling, but shit, if you know within yourself, if you kind of had that thought, you might not gave too much acknowledgement to it, but you know if you had the thought, because shit, I'm gonna keep it ace with you. I have friends who like, we done talked about shit within the conversation, they just said something dope, and I'm like, damn, that's dope as fuck for them. Nigga, I'm happy as fuck you doing that. I'd be fucking lying to you all right now if I told you I've never had my partner say, oh, I'm doing something that's like, man, fuck, I wanna be doing some shit like that. So, like, even me talking about this and acknowledging and all that shit, that does not change the fact I still can have that same mindset. And I done had that with friends. It ain't like I vocalized it or some shit. And I dealt with it. Like, I was like, hey, nigga, chill out. You got the shit you got going on. They got the shit they got going on. Be happy for them. But that's something I've kind of grown to be able to handle internally and actually end up with the end result. I'm not faking it, telling myself I'm happy for them or whatever. No, I generally manage the comparison that I initially did within myself, balance it. Nah, I'm actually fucking happy for them. Nigga, you doing good. Don't compare yourself to them. You ain't did the things they done. They done put in work that you ain't put in work. You done worked in different areas. Be happy for your friend. And shit, that's just something you got to deal with sometimes. And not trying to act like you perfect in the fact that you don't have those comparisons. And like I spoke about social media, family, friends, sometimes it's easy to see the comparisons that we do when we have similarities. But sometimes the people that we compare ourselves against aren't people we're similar to. Because you can easily be like, oh, we're in the same age bracket comparison. If you at 30, what you was doing at 30? But you can compare yourself against someone who's older. Let's say you're 30, but you're comparing yourself against someone who's 60, and you're seeing them living a great life or things that they have in life because of time that they didn't put in. And you're like, I want these things. I want them now. That person has those things because of the time that they put in. So now you're comparing yourself and your journey against someone who has lived a longer journey than you. That journey has went through, done more things. They've had more time, literally more time to get to that point in the journey. But because you see it and you want it, you find yourself comparing and lacking and devaluing the things that you have and where you're at because you don't have what they have. And it's just like, how do you expect to have, if you honestly want and expect yourself to have something that took a 30-year journey, you are a little bit delusional about it. And some things, yes, there are some things that can be achieved in a shorter time period, but that doesn't change the fact that some things were earned over time. That's like talking to somebody who's married, because I don't want it to purely be like, oh, I'm seeing somebody who's in their retirement age and now they got a sports car. I want a sports car now. Yeah, it's easy to see those physical type things, but maybe you're like talking to someone who's been married a long time and you're struggling with an early on relationship and you're like, oh, damn, how'd they get to that point? And they'll give you advice of clarity that they have now and how they deal with relationships and different things because they have put in that fucking time. Oh, I've been married for 30 years. You've been married for 3. Oh, damn, I wish we had, why you can't act like him? Nigga, because he was fucking doing the same shit at fucking 3 that you was in 3 years that you doing now. That yo got, I'm fucking this up. You can be with your man is doing the same shit now that the other man you're seeing being amazing and not doing those things at 30 years. That same man could have been doing those things at 3 years, but they went through the journey and they got to the other side of it. So comparing it is it's just the comparison is just going to end you up with negative results. But at the same time, shit, your man may be developing a way to where he's not doing those same type of things. So yes, he can be 3 years in and operating to similar levels of it, but don't find yourself comparing yourself against someone who's gone through a journey that you have not experienced. But shit, sometimes the comparison ain't somebody who you're older than you. Sometimes it's somebody younger than you. And it's I feel like sometimes it's a little bit easier with someone older than you to come to the rationale and acknowledgement. All right, I'm comparing what I'm at to where they at, but they didn't put in more time. What about when I'm looking at somebody who's younger than me and I put in more time, yet they now have things that I want. They've got achievements. They're doing things. They're living lives. They're getting to have experiences that I want. And I've been here longer. Why the fuck am I not getting that? Hey, look, that is not your story. That's not your journey. So whatever they may have done, shit, sometimes you may be, I'm just going with easy numbers. You may be 30 and they're 20, but the thing is, they're 20, but they've been doing something since they've been 10, and you've only been doing it since you were 25. You've been putting 5 years in, they're 10 years on a journey. Just because they're at a younger state than you in life doesn't mean in the journey that you're going on, they're not at the same, they're equal. They're older than you in the journey of what you're working on. They've been working longer. So understanding, now you're finding yourself comparing, but what you have is for you and what they have is for them. And you just really have to realize that sometimes that really is just the difference maker. What you have is for you, what they have is for them. Your journey is not their journey. So it may be similar, but it's not the same, even if y'all lack similarities or whatever it may be. So with all these things I'm talking about, whether it's social media or real world, the thing is you have to find a way to take responsibility for whatever you do. Just like how I talked about social media, you have to take control of who you follow, who you allow yourself to be exposed to. Shit in the real world, sometimes when it comes to like family or whoever it may be, like, oh, it's a coworker. Oh, I work with you. I can't really deal with you. Oh, your family. All right, your family. And I love you, but sometimes you bring negative comparisons to my life. I don't need to be around you. So just taking control of what we're responsible for as far as how our mind compares. So we have to deal with it either way, because whether you like it or not, if you find a comparative mind, you got to face it. You got to deal with it. And like I said, the responsibility is within us. And we have to find a way to make the conscious choice to rebuke comparative thoughts. And like for me, like my negative thoughts, I just told you, like with the friends thing, I have them like a motherfucker. And the thing that I do with those things is when I have a negative thought, I have them all the time. Unfortunately, I really, like, I mean, in the ideal world, I love if I had a negative thoughts. And I'm pretty sure you would as well, but I do have them. And it's negative comparative thoughts. I have to acknowledge them, because that's the most important thing with this in the comparative aspect. If you're having comparisons and comparative thoughts within yourself, if you don't actually acknowledge that you're comparing yourself against somebody else, you're going to continuously struggle, because what's actually happening isn't even getting real acknowledgement, which is why something I hate is statements like fake it till you make it. If you don't actually know what's going on, you cannot heal, fix, make anything better if you're faking it. The real work is going to be done with real acknowledgement. So acknowledge what's going on, process what's going on, and from there, you can work on it. So what I do is once I'm able to, like I told y'all with the friends thing, once I can see, acknowledge, hey, I'm having this thought process that I'm having this thought, rationale, like, hey, look, actually go through it, like not just like dismiss it. I can acknowledge it, see it's there, and walk away. And at that point in time, I find myself on the better side of lacking comparison against that person. But that sounds good. But the fact is, sometimes that walk away is, even though I said that shit like that, all easy, it is not fucking easy sometimes to walk away from that comparative thought. So just because I'm saying it this way, don't feel like, oh, well, comparison, I'm going to rebuke my comparative thoughts and now they're gone. Sometimes that walk away is like you're looking back still. It's just like, damn, I want to walk away from the comparison, but I just can't help it that I'm still at that point. And sometimes it's just a hard walk. So understand that will happen. And sometimes the walk may be easier to do. And sometimes you may walk away and have to walk away again and again and again and again. Because the comparative thoughts and whatever's going on with you, sometimes with things in life, you're going to have to repeatedly do it. So if you find yourself finding comparative thoughts against somebody else, don't think, oh, I'm just walk away from it. It's going to be over and done with it and I can wipe my hands. Sometimes you got to repeatedly walk away from that comparative thought, and it's hard. But that's just something that you have to do if you want to get on the other side of negative comparisons. And at this point, like what I just said, something I said last episode to an extent, and I feel like I'm going to probably say this like buku times on other episodes, because it's just a point that I feel like is really important and just really drives home something about how I feel. And this is whenever I say something and talking about it and it sounds like the words make it sound easy to do. Just like, oh, just do that. Like to rebuke the conscious thoughts. Oh, just rebuke comparative thoughts. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just do that. It's easier to say it than to do it, but sometimes you have to hear it to know you can do it. Let me say that one more time. It's easier to say it than to do it, but sometimes you have to hear it to know you can do it. And that's just for any time something just sounds easy. If you do not know an action is possible sometimes, or even if you know it's possible, but it hasn't crossed your mind, sometimes the representation or represent, shout out to Transformation Church, with that will kind of just give you a different mindset, a different viewpoint on it to where, all right, bet. I'm now going to walk in a different way. I'm now going to look at it a different way because it's been presented to me. It's not going to mean that the walk is going to be easy, but now I know what the walk is. I may not, at no point, most walks in life are not going to be easy, but knowing what the walk is, having some idea, you ain't going to know every aspect of what the walk going to entail, but knowing the walk that you're trying to make is going to allow you to do a lot of different things in life and a lot of better things for yourself. So that's just anytime I say something, make it sound easy. Now, like for myself, I've talked about like me with comparisons, and I'm gonna just kind of emphasize like me because I'm talking about negative comparisons and I want to make sure a lot of things kind of reflect in. I'm talking about from a real standpoint. So like a conversation I had not that long ago with somebody was just talking about comparisons and like everything comparative. And I kind of was talking to them about the fact I don't really compare myself against anybody else. And it was like, how do you not compare yourself? And the answer for me, to be honest, I just literally do not want to be anybody else, like at all. Like I do, like the idea of being anybody else is, respectfully to all you other people in the world, disgusting to me. The idea of being anybody other than me disgusts me because it's not because you're disgusting. I just love me so much, and I would never want to be anybody other than this person that I am. I think I'm amazing. I think you're amazing, but I would never want to be anybody else. And so we were kind of talking about it, and they was like, and like me kind of driving home that point of, no, I would not want to be anybody else. And it was like, okay, other people wouldn't want to be anybody else, but it's like, no, there are people who actually would like to be somebody else. Like you literally, if you could be somebody or you could have so much of somebody else's life, you would want to have, I don't want to have anybody's life. I don't want to have anybody else's experience. I do not want anything, period, of anybody else's. Now, again, I have negative comparative thoughts, but in my heart, my soul, my spirit, I do not want to be anybody else. I don't want what you have. And that's just me focusing more on myself instead of others. Acknowledging others are there, but focusing on myself. And don't get me wrong, I still want to improve. I want to be better. I want to have better things in life. I'm not at a stagnant point of where it's just like, I love myself and I'm the perfect version of this. I don't believe in the word perfect. So I have so much work that I want to do and grow toward, but I have to acknowledge myself, work that I want to do. So I want to have improvements. So within having them improvements, I talked about comparisons. I may see other people and shit, they got some dope shit going on, and I can be inspired by that person. Like for me, that's a huge difference between like the the negative comparison that you can end with and being truly inspired by somebody. So I can get inspired by people. So I may want something. I may see what they have and like it, but I don't want what they have. I may want something similar to what they have. And that's because I understand, like I spoke about earlier, what they have is for them. What I have is for me. So like what is for them is not for me. I may want something similar, but I cannot have the things that they have because it's not my things. So understanding like there's a fine line between wanting something similar and wanting the same thing. Because, I mean, those words can easily be like similar, same. I mean, it's almost there, but it's not. Because an example I'll give is an apple example that I kind of wrote down. So somebody can see me with an apple and like, oh, damn, that apple look good. I want an apple. And then go and get them an apple. That's fine. You saw something, you were inspired by it. You wanted to have something similar to it. You went and got something. That same person could have instead had an apple, saw me with an apple, felt like my apple looked better than their apple, and now they don't want a similar apple. They want my apple. They don't go and get a different apple. They don't eat their own apple. They want my apple. At that point in time, you want the same thing. Understanding it's okay to be inspired, by somebody to be inspired and want to do better, but when you now literally want exactly what they have, you're no longer inspired, you're trying to replicate. And replication now takes away from the individuality and the amazingness that you already are. Don't replicate anybody else, only be inspired by them. So at that point in time, you no longer want an apple like mine, you want my apple. Another example, like for me personally, bringing it to me, like my body physique. And like I really get all sexy and trim and shit, you know what I mean? Nigga like how I look, I think I'm cute and shit. I'm pretty sure some people think I'm ugly, but I don't give a fuck what you think. I gotta live with this body and I like this motherfucker. So I think I'm cute. I like how I look. Shit, like I got a gap. I don't even know like how I feel if like, I no longer had a gap. I know like buku people like get their teeth fixed and shit or whatever, but if I seen myself without a gap, that shit probably look mad fucking weird to me or something. But so I like myself, and that's just me, how I feel about me. And now at points of time, this finna get like a little bit like off kilter or whatever it may be. So bear with me as I talk about this shit. But I like my body, but I would like to be more cut and toned. Like, you know what I mean? I want to be a little more trim, get up in the bit, see a little more sexy, flex or whatever. That's how I prefer to look for me. Now the thing is people out there who have bodies that are more cut and toned than mine, but I would never want their body. I would never want to have somebody else's body. Like, so if I woke up one day and was like, I woke up in this more cut, physique tone body that's not mine, what is this? This is not my body. I would like to get to the work of getting there. So even though I might have a comparative thought to an extent of what they have is only inspired, I don't want to have what you have. And so just making sure you understand being inspired by somebody and not being compared with it. Now to the vain extent of myself, look, I'm gonna talk my shit. You hear what AO, so AO talk how AO talk, you feel me? Nigga in third person. My third leg, I like how that motherfucker look. I think it's pretty. I think it's gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. But I think everybody else's is ugly as shit because it's not mine. So it's just how I look. That's how I look at it. I'm pretty sure it's other ones. It's probably like women who out there in the world be like, but I like his better. What? I don't give a damn, baby girl. This is the one I got. I like how I work and how I do the thing. And I do what I do without my thing. You feel me? I know you like when I be doing my thing with my thing, baby. But yeah, so this is the one I got and I like it. And I like how I look. It got like cute beauty marks on it. Everybody can't see them beauty marks on it because you ain't privileged to that. Everybody can't get that privilege of seeing what I got going on with my little yeah, feel me? But I like it. But let me go beyond just a kind of like shock kind of point of whatever how I like it about my body. I like other little things. Like I like how my hands look. I like how my feet look. I like my nose. I like my lips. Shit, I got gaps. I like my teeth. You feel me? Shit, I like my eyebrows, my eyelashes. I like the way I look. You know what I mean? And it's not to say. I mean, it's pretty sure it's people with similarities or whatever. But in my mind, how like if I'm looking at like an ideal body, shit, this is it for me. Like these extremities, like the way my feet look, the way my hands look, for me that's ideal body. And that's not to say y'all body's ugly or it's not some nice shit or like shit with these beautiful women that God bless the world with. Some beautiful bodies out here, you feel me? But when it comes to like looking at other bodies, there's no comparative point to where I want to have your body. Like it's dope what you got going on, but what I got going on just is dope. So I'm loving this, and this is the only one I don't want to have. And so that's just like kind of the mindset and movement that I have from a comparative standpoint of looking at myself to other people and trying to like make sure I do not compare myself with other people. And like I said, the extent to where I do it, and I have to acknowledge it and move on past it. But to my core, my absolute point, I don't want to be anybody else. And so like a quick point I want to get to, well not quick point, but I don't want to have this podcast run too long. It's like a little second ago I was looking at the time, I'm like, oh damn, this podcast is finna be short, and now I've been talking, it's like, oh damn, this podcast is finna be long. Keep the shit going, wrap this shit up, nigga. But so a lot of the things I done talked about have been comparing external aspects, like just external aspects, wanting what somebody else have. Like how somebody else may look or something, like, you know, possibly want somebody else's body or whatever it may be. Want to look how somebody else look, having what somebody else have their home, have their car, have their money, whatever, have their life. But the thing is, sometimes it's internal, the things that we may find ourselves comparing, because you can easily see somebody and compare, oh, I think that person's smarter than me. Oh, I like that person. They might have a better personality to me. That person has a better heart than me. That person's funnier than me. I mean, see somebody like myself without leaving motherfucking jokes and be like, damn, I wish I had jokes like Al. You can't have jokes like Al. That don't mean you can't be funny, but you can't have jokes like Al because you can never be Al. You can't have my brain. You can't have my mind. You can't move how I move. So understanding it's okay that you can't move how I move because you dope as shit. You dope as fuck. Cause I got some partners who be running some jokes, be having a nigga like, boy, you fucking stupid, you hear me? At the same time, niggas be running jokes. You really said that dumb shit. And I know sometimes I be saying shit and they like, you really think that dumb shit funny? I said it. I thought it was funny. Shit, sometimes laugh at your own jokes. Be all right with the fact that somebody else might not like your joke, but you like it. Make them motherfucking them unfunny ass jokes. I be hating when my friends make unfunny ass jokes, but shit, I can't control that. That's what they thought it was funny when they said it to me. So just like understand the limits of comparison are not just external or things that we see outside. Sometimes we find ourselves comparing what we cannot see and touch within somebody else, but you can feel it, you can observe it, and know, oh, that person has this going on within them. And to that point, I want to kind of like move on to like a important thing I feel about comparison is understanding just the word comparison and getting into comparison and what that actually is, because a comparison is not always negative. And up to this point, I've purposely only kind of focused on speaking about comparison from an aspect of negativity, because one, that's how I feel like a lot of times when the word comparison is used or compare is used, it's just the acknowledgement of the negativity of it. And so just for keeping like the podcast smooth, I want to like, okay, yeah, let's stick on that comparison. But the pure word comparison and at its nature and at its root is not a negative word. It's usually thought of as negative, but that's not the case. Comparison is just literally observing things. It's the observation of things we perceive and balancing out the likeness based on the knowledge we have. And that's all a comparison is. It's just observing things, seeing it. We have knowledge because that's the only thing we can compare against the knowledge that we already have, what we see, what we observe more of. And just like, oh, what's the likeness, the differences, what's going on with it? And there's nothing wrong with it. That's something that's fucking is normal and it's even necessary for life. So progress in life, it is necessary to have comparisons. So like I said, from a pure standpoint, comparison is a good thing. And just like a easy comparison I'll go with of a thing that's not a negative comparison. You see a tree. You want to climb a tree. At this age, I don't know how many more trees I got in my future of climbing. Maybe when I have kids and they climb up a tree and I got to bring their ass out of the tree. But you see a tree and you want to climb a tree. Well, to climb that tree, you have to compare the branches that you're going to reach your hand up and pull up on. You know about how heavy you are. You see a tree and you see a little bit ass branch over there like, that little branch, if I pull at it, that bitch going to break as soon as it feel any of my weight on it. But if I see this big heavier branch, I'm going to pull on this one. At that point, that's comparison between the two. But you were able to realize, oh, this tree branch over here is too small for me to grab upon. Let me grab on this other one. And that's just like a thing that was necessary for you to successfully climb that tree. You had to realize this tree can this branch can hold my weight, this one can't. And just making that continuous comparison between what branches you think can and cannot. Sometimes you might think one can, thing break, and you not know, oh, nope, that branch can't hold me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Another comparison, you're walking down the road or you're driving down something. Like I recently was in a car accident due to a road getting wet, but it's just like important comparison is noticing, oh, a dry road compared to a wet road. You should move, you should operate upon it a little differently. There's a reason why when you go in buildings or whatever, they put up a caution sign when they mop the floor and it's wet. Hey, be aware, things are different comparatively to when the floor is normally dry and easy to walk on. It's slippery now because it's wet. So, hey, you should have a little bit more caution. That's a comparison point right there. And what's another one? Another one I had like, hey, all right, cool. Let's say you 6'8", something like that, 6'8", 300 pounds, something like that, and you falling on somebody. You got two people in front of you. You got a dude who about 6'4", 230. You got somebody who like 4'7", 75. Which person you feel more comfortable falling on? I'm not gonna lie. I'm falling on that bigger person. If I can, I'm gonna try not to fall on anybody to keep myself from falling. But you would probably want to fall on that bigger person. And that's not to say just flat out that person's just a strong person because they bigger, but they look like they're probably bigger. There's more likely chance that person will be able to hold you up. Now, of course, things like muscle density and things like that can play into it. So that person can be small, but a lot of density and strong or whatever to their body. And that person can be big with no density at all and not be able to hold somebody up. But on that initial comparison, if you quickly going, you probably fall into that bigger person. And that's just because the comparison between things. Now, what I want to do, what I do want to have within all of these different comparisons comparative situation that I presented, whether it's the tree, the road, or the person, the things that you're not choosing to go down, not choosing the smaller branch, not going down the wet road, not falling to the smaller person, is the valuation of these things. Just because those are things that once you had a comparison and you chose to go a different way, that doesn't mean that the thing that you didn't choose has less value. Because that's the point of where we need to have the understanding between negative comparison. Is the negative comparison happens when you decide to place value upon things. Because now you're no longer just observing and just acknowledging the attributes of things. Because that's all a comparison is acknowledging the value, acknowledging the attributes of things. So it's like, oh, bigger, smaller, safer. Because at that point, you're just making safer choices for yourself. But when you now, because this isn't whatever point what I compared, now it actually isn't that's just an attribute it has. Now it has less value. At that point, you're now making a negative comparison. Because you can just, like I say, you have to compare things. But those negative comparisons are the things that I've kind of been focusing on this entire podcast. And every bit of this conversation is just talking about how we make these negative comparisons. And those things can go over into our life as far as how we deal with things and how we compare ourselves is the negative comparisons that we have. Because if in all those situations that I spoke about where there was negativity, there was a devaluation typically was a valuation change that happened. And usually it's a devaluation when you're looking at negativity, negative comparisons. You're devaluing yourself based upon what somebody else has done. You're devaluing what you have based upon what somebody else has. You're devaluing something based on something else you're seeing. And it's not even always comparisons within ourselves. Sometimes we devalue other people because, if I have this and they don't have this, well, then that less than me. So now that I've devalued that person. You're just comparatively different. And that's okay. But don't take value away from people and take value away from yourself based upon the comparisons and things that you notice. Just be able to take in the information. And even with that, like I gave examples of instead of having negative comparisons, what I feel like you should be aiming toward is having positive comparisons. That's a much better thing. And positive, negative, pretty simple aspect, right? But like just having a focus of trying to make positive comparisons within your life. Like I said, with the tree, with the road, with the person example, that's a positive comparison. It was able to make you make a smarter choice for yourself, a safer choice. And even to that point, like me thinking about it, I think positive comparisons is something that I do want to get to on a later on podcast. But I think at that point right now, we've talked enough about negative comparisons to positive comparisons, or just negative comparisons and the focus on it, and like how we need to try to make the work of taking in ourselves what we're doing to end up not making negative comparisons, to where I'm going to end the vent right there. It's been a long ass talk, and I hope y'all have enjoyed it. So at this point in time, I am going to shift over to how we end the podcast. Y'all already know we're trying to be better, not bitter. So we're just going to give a quick rundown of reflecting on what we went through on the vent. So on the vent, again, avoiding negative comparisons was the overall arching topic of what we were speaking about. So as I said, comparisons is normal. And with the internet and the aspect we have to it, these negative comparisons are only going to grow. Social media, unfortunately, is an unnatural aspect and access to people. It has positivity to it, but it also has a heavy negative thing that it can have associated with it. We got to watch what we consume, and also being aware of what's already within us on the things that we choose to consume. Social media sometimes can be positive, as I said, but it can also be harmful, and it can be more harm than help sometimes. And just realizing, acknowledging how we're receiving the information, knowing that you're just seeing highlight reels. It can be good, but you're seeing highlight reels. Sorry for getting repeated. I'm going through some of my notes. It's like, that's a little repetitive on the notes. But just understand how you're taking in social media. Real world, watching how you compare yourself to other people just as you can do online. The tandem of social media and the real world, sometimes they can just amplify each other. There's negative comparison here, negative comparison there, and it's just like boosting you. You're not at just a flurry of negative comparisons. And it can be to real people, similar people that you see in life, as well as similar people when it comes to young and older people. And even people, it doesn't even have to be that. It can be like a disability or something that somebody may have, or whatever the politically correct. I think disability is not a politically correct word, but I don't know any better, so I speak with ignorance about something that I don't know. Understand at the end of the day, you're responsible for the negative comparisons and how you control the way you compare things. You got to work on your conscious choices that you make. As I said beforehand, it's easier to say it than to do it, but sometimes you have to hear it, say it to know you can do it. I'm going to say that all the time because I want to emphasize that anytime I speak. The internal comparisons is something else we have to acknowledge. The fact that sometimes we're comparing what's inside of us and not just always the things that we can see outside. So just be aware of all of your comparisons. And the fact that comparison at its root is not a negative thing. It's not a positive thing. It can be a good thing, but it's not negative or positive. You decide on what the comparison is with what you do with the information. It's just the observation and balance is normal and necessary for progress within life. And like I said, with the negative comparison, it's just when you're devaluing things and changing the value, that's when you have the issues with the observation of things you have. You're now changing the attributes to have a higher or lesser value. So let's avoid these negative comparisons and focus on more positive comparisons. And I really feel like on that note, it's been a long ass podcast. I really thought I was not going to get to around an hour, but shit, I'll be talking. So on that note, man, I really hope y'all did enjoy what I talked about. I hope it's been good information. Again, don't forget, it's a StoryHouse podcast. You can follow the podcast on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, X. I really hate trying to say that word. Hate calling that stuff out. But it's StoryHouse, one word, .xo. StoryHouse.xo on all social media platforms. I'm AO, man. You can follow me on everything. AO forever. You know, I do different things. I got my music or whatever shit I be into. But, man, it's been a good conversation. Like, if y'all have any thoughts, anything, hey, look, man, like the video, please. I appreciate that. But also, man, drop some comments. Like, let me know what's your feedback. Let me know if you want to join with me this Saturday on pulling up for the volunteering. Because, hey, it's going to be turned. It's going to be lit. It's going to be tiring, but it's going to be fun. So, look, man, we just trying to be better, man. We trying to be better, not better in life. You feel me? So, on that note, I don't really got too much more. Oh, if you you listen to this on like any audio platforms, hey, please review it or whatever. Leave 5 stars, whether Spotify, Apple, whatever, all that jazz. And man, if you watching the YouTube, subscribe to it. I don't want to hit y'all with too much more shit. I'm really just trying to think like what people be saying at the end of these things. So this is what the fuck I'm saying at the end of these things. I'm out this motherfucker. This is a StoryHouse podcast. It was a StoryHouse show. You already know you in here. Your family. If you pull up, your family. We kicking it. It's love. We pouring it. We drinking. We doing our thing. We doing whatever it is that's fun. But the fun has come to an end, and I'm tired and I'm sleepy. So that means you got to get your ass out of my house. I don't care where you go, but you got to get your ass out of here, man. It's love. It's a StoryHouse show. Till next time, be easy. We out.
I've been going through some things, so much on my brain, just hoping it would change.